La Plaza San Martín is one of the most significant places in Lima, inaugurated on July 27, 1921, to commemorate the centenary of the independence of Peru. The square is home to an impressive equestrian statue of the liberator José de San Martín, who played a crucial role in Peru's independence. Additionally, around the square are historic buildings representing various architectural styles, from neoclassical to Art Deco, making it an essential landmark for lovers of architecture and history. El Gran Hotel Bolívar, one of the most emblematic buildings surrounding the square, is the Gran Hotel Bolívar, inaugurated in 1924. This neo-colonial style hotel has hosted numerous personalities and is famous for its pisco sour cocktail. It sees worth entering and admiring its impressive lobby and historic architecture. Edificio Giacoletti. This building is a clear example of the architectural style of the early 20th century in Lima. Its ornamental details and elegance made it stand out among the buildings that surround the square. However, in 2018, a tragic event left the structures of the emblematic building severely damaged, which is currently being remodeled. Club Nacional. Founded in 1855, the National Club is a private institution and one of the oldest clubs in Lima. It's a current building inaugurated in 1929. Is a magnificent example of the neo-colonial architecture. Although access is exclusive to members, facade is impressive and deserves to be admired from the outside. El Teatro Colón, located on of the corners of the square. That El Teatro Colón is another of the historic buildings that enrich the surroundings of the Plaza San Martín. Although it is not currently operating as a theater, its architecture and history make it a point of the interest for visitors. Plaza San Martín is not only a place of interest during the day. At the night, it transforms into a vibrant nightlife hub. The surroundings of the square are home to a wide variety of bars, restaurants, and coffees offering everything from traditional Peruvian cuisine to international dishes. Visitors can enjoy outdoor dining overlooking the illuminated square, creating a magical and welcoming atmosphere. In addition, the square is a meeting point for cultural and artistic events, common to find concerts, theater, performance, and other cultural activities. Is also a popular place for social demonstration and protest.
Continue with our tour. I continued with Girón de la Unión. Is a historical and iconic pedestrian street located in the heart of Lima. Once now as the social and commercial hub of the city. It connects Plaza Mayor to Plaza San Martin, two of the most important squares in the city. Girón de la Unión was one of the most prestigious streets in Lima during the colonial era. This street has played a significant role in Lima's cultural and urban development, especially during the colonial and early Republican periods. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, it became a fashionable promenade for Lima's elite, housing luxurious shops, cafes, and theaters. On this street, you can find some attractions such as the Church of la Merced, the Concert Palace, and the Casa Watch, etc. In these parts, you will be able to see what Girón de la Unión was like before and what he is like today. Church of la Merced, a stunning example of Baroque architecture, is one of the most emblematic and oldest churches in Lima. Located in the history center of the city. On the famous Girón de la Unión. Its history is deeply linked to the process of evangelization and Spanish colonization in Peru. The Concert Palace. It was built in 1913 and quickly became one of the most fashionable places in the city at the beginning of the 20th century. It was an upmarket cafe and meeting place, famous for its Art Nouveau style and cosmopolitan atmosphere, attracting intellectuals, politicians, artists, and Lima's elite. This house belonged to the Welch family, a prominent family of European descent that contributed significantly to Lima's commercial and cultural development. The Casa Welch. This attraction also is in the street of Girón de la Unión. The Casa Welch was a gathering place for Lima's upper class and has remained a symbol of the city's aristocratic past. The building has witnessed important historical and social events in Lima's history. Telling the story of the Casa Welch is telling the story of a Lima that has gone and that unfortunately will not return. Of a Lima of definite European inspiration that followed closely what was happening in Madrid, Paris, and London, looking for inspiration. Today, this is how this attraction looks.
Hello everyone and welcome to this fascinating tour of the historic Plaza de Armas in Lima. Today, we'll explore one of Peru's most iconic places, full of history and interesting facts you may not have heard before. Did you know that in its early days this plaza was used for bullfighting? That's right. Long before it became the monumental center we see today, the plaza was an avenue for public entertainment. Later, the bronze fountain was installed in 1651, which still stands at the center of the square. In those times, the plaza also functioned as a market and later as a seat for execution during the Catholic Inquisition. Let's start here at the government palace, the official residence of the President of Peru. Originally, the palace burned down and had to be rebuilt from the ground up. The reconstruction was led by Polish architect Ricardo de Haxa Malakowski, who played a key role in the modernization of Lima. His design of the palace stands out from other buildings in the plaza, incorporating a more modern style compared to the neo-colonial structure around it. During Augusto Villaguia presidency, this location was the scene of grand independence celebration. Now, if you look to the east, you will see the majestic Lima Cathedral. This building has witnessed centuries of history. It's not only a masterpiece of Renaissance and Baroque architecture, but also the resting place of Francisco Pizarro, the conqueror of Peru. Right next door is the Archbishop Palace with its magnificent Moorish balconies carved from cedar wood. These balconies are an excellent example of the neo-colonial architecture replicated throughout Lima, respecting tradition but always with a unique touch. Let's head over to the west side of the square, where you'll find the Municipal Palace, the seat of Lima city government. This building is another great example of neo-colonial architecture with its grand balconies and intricate wooden details, showcasing a true work of art. In the center of the plaza stands the bronze fountain, a structure that's been here for almost 400 years and has witnessed many of Lima's transformation. During the colonial era, this fountain wasn't just decorative. It served as a gathering place for the people. Nearby, you'll find the Club de la Unión located at one corner of the plaza. This place, founded 1868, was where Lima's elite gathered to discuss the most important issues of the day. Its elegant neo-colonial style continues to stand out in the Plaza Mayor and served as a reminder of this seat influence on Lima political and social life. Lastly, we can't forget to mention the famous catacombs beneath this plaza, a mystery that fascinates everyone who visits San Francisco Church, located a bit farther away. These catacombs hold the remains of thousands of people and are part of Lima's hidden treasure from the colonial period. This tour shows us that the Plaza de Armas is not just a place of architectural beauty, but also a key spot for understanding Lima history, from its beginnings to its modernization. Every building tells a history, every corner holds a secret. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you're enjoying this journey through Lima's rich history.
So now that we just passed through the most of historical center, we just walk around the San Martin Square. We just went through Girón de la Unión to the main square. Now it's moment to go to one of the most important places to visit in the whole historical center. One of the most interesting museums in our point of view. And the place that we're talking about is the San Francisco Church, Convent, Museum and Catacombs. This place was opened and built up actually during the 1542 when the Franciscans arrived. There is a lot of controversy between exactly when did the Franciscans arrive into the country. Some people like to say that they arrived on the 1526. Some people say that they arrived on the 1531. But for this moment, we're taking the 1542, the actual arriving time and the start of the building of the Franciscan Church. So they started doing this building right here, the one that we're looking at right now as the main cloister, And around those years, 1540s, 1550s, 1560s, and it took almost 100 years to be done till the 1600s. The first floor, just the first floor, in the walls you can find a lot of tiles that were not made in Peru, but they were exported from Spain. All of these ones from Seville, from the 1600s. The younger ones will be from the 1649, 1652. The older ones, 1620s. There is 100 years gap between each spot. When we talk about the beginning of the construction of this place and the actual first floor, that is because the place was not meant to be a church itself, but actually in the bottom part below the whole infrastructure, what you will find is the catacombs. The catacombs that are nowadays one of the most important attractions in the historical center, not only because of its importance during the time, but also what it represents nowadays. The catacombs is the place where the Spanish people used to be buried for 300 years during the history of the colonial Lima city. The people during those days, they believed they had to be buried on what we can call sacred land, but since in Peru there is no sacred land, they consider that one the house of God, and that's why a lot of people is buried right there. But also there is another reason of existing for the catacombs. There is 8 kilometers square of catacombs all around below the city, all around below the historical center, and this is mostly because the catacombs were not only for burying people, but also an escape route for the aristocratic members of the viceroy of this country during the colonial times. A part of the catacombs, what you will find is a lot of paintings, a lot of walls talking about histories. Even in the roof, you will see the importance of the elegance and the delicacy when we talk about the tales. All of this place was built during the Baroque times. So the Franciscans, yes, they made sure to be really careful with all the details that you can find inside this place, in the roof or on the walls, on the paintings, and the two different kinds of paintings you can find around the main cloister. You can also you can also see right there, once you're going into the main hall, right there, second floor, you are able to see a huge dome, a dome that is made in base of wood and only placed right there by pressure. That's what we call tongue and groove technique, and this is basically a way to join just the piece of wood by pressure. Yes, this dome is representing what we can call the universe from the Franciscans, where you cannot represent animals or plants, just stars. Then in the second floor, you can also see the library, one of the most beautiful places you will be if you would like to visit this place. It's truly amazing. They even say that they have right there in the library one of the original 12 different Bibles that Gutenberg printed on the original Gutenberg's printer during the 1400s, 1500s. A really old one. That one that I'm pretty sure that they don't have it just right there in the room, but in another special one, of course. What else can you find inside of this place? Apart of all the things that we just talked about, there is another room that is quite important, like for example the painting of the Last Supper, or you can also talk about the room of the concessionary. You can also talk about the second floor, that is the house of the Franciscans. But all of that is just more and more data that during this day we are not going to be talking about.